this video, I just want to quickly answer some of the most common questions that I've been receiving about reishi spore oil. Now, because reishi is one of the most popular, if not the most popular and the most widely consumed and most scientifically researched herb of all time, that in combination with the fact that spore oil is not really a common phrase or common in our vernacular, it's worthy of a little bit of explanation, just clarity to understand kind of what we're talking about and what makes it so good. So as the name implies, it is literally the oil made from the spores of reishi mushroom. So what is that and what does that mean? Well, basically what happens is when the reishi mushroom or the fruiting body reaches maturity, it then releases its spores, which usually form as kind of a brownish golden dust on top of the mushroom and then is released into the atmosphere and in the environment around the mushroom so it can then reproduce. So effectively, it is the reproductive essence or seed or sperm of the reishi mushroom. As such, it is extremely concentrated with all of the genetic information of reishi to basically go out and reproduce the organism. And from a chemical standpoint, it's been shown to obviously have polysaccharides and triterpenes and the whole ganoderic acids and essential oils and a whole list of different chemicals. Now, if you were not aware, reishi is known to have over 300 to 400 different active chemicals. Depending on what study you read or what data you reference, it's sort of variable depending on when the study was done, what batch, where they got the stuff, what an analysis. But effectively 300 to 400 different active chemicals, which is pretty amazing stuff. And really, when we look at the spores, we can see when we start to get to the spore oil, we get really high levels of the triterpenes in a matrix of all of the other essential oils that the mushroom has. So since we take the spores or the reproductive essence of the mushroom, really in their raw state, they're not that ideal for consumption because the cell wall is pretty hard and not something our body can really crack open and break down in the digestive system. So then basically the cell wall is cracked open through a special process that doesn't use any heat or chemicals or solvents or anything like that. Basically it uses pressure. And then from there, the cracked cell spores are then processed with supercritical extraction, which again doesn't use any heat. There's no chemicals, there's no oxidation, there's no solvents or anything like that used. It's basically a process that is done cold and is able to preserve the full matrix of the nutritional profile. Because when we're talking about oils, we usually want to avoid heat if possible because we don't want to oxidize or denature those oils. And especially when they're very sensitive oils or unsaturated oils like are found in the spore oils and all the different triterpenes and ganoderic acids that are found in that whole matrix. So then at that point, it is then immediately encapsulated so then it is preserved and not prone to oxidation. Now, as far as concentration goes and as far as how this amazing golden liquid comes about, essentially there are 1,000 kilograms of whole reishi fruiting bodies, which then out of that you can get 1 to 3 to 5 kilos of spore powder, obviously depending on harvest and yield for that year. And then out of that 1 kilo of spore powder, we can get, out of 1,000 kilos of spore powder, we can get 1 kilo, 1 to 3 kilos, depending on batch and harvest, all of the obvious variables. You can get 1 kilo of spore oil. So it's basically 1,000 to 1 and then 1,000 to 1 again, which makes it incredibly concentrated, incredibly potent, which explains why it's generally a little bit more expensive than the regular reishi extracts. And as a result of this, we're able to get really high concentrations of spore oil, anywhere from 30 to sometimes 38, almost 40% triterpenes. So that means if you take a 500 milligram capsule, you're getting almost 150 to 200 milligrams of triterpenes per capsule, which is pretty amazing and pretty strong stuff. And for me, what I usually like to do is just take the capsules and pop one open and suck out the liquid and spit out the capsule, and then sort of just swish the oil around my mouth and sort of get a quicker and faster uptake. Now personally, I like the flavor. Most of the people that take herbs enjoy the flavor. There's always the people who don't like the flavor and just want to, you know, take a capsule, and that's fine also. Really, both are great. Both are great options. It's really just a matter of a personal preference. So hopefully that gives you a good idea for what spore oil is, how it's made, and why it's so concentrated, and how it has such a rich concentration of triterpenes. If you want to learn more about how triterpenes are beneficial and or want to learn more about reishi spore oil, definitely click the link below the video and go learn more about that. So again, reishi is one of the most popular, if not the most popular and widely consumed herb on the planet, both now and if you go back thousands of years. There's ancient Chinese texts that revere it and look at it as the mushroom of immortality or the herb of spiritual potency, and all of these titles indicative of reverence and real respect. And then in modern times, there's been just boatloads of scientific research that have been done on reishi mushroom. So it's pretty cool stuff, pretty amazing herb in and of itself, which is why I've done dozens and dozens of videos on that one herb and recorded numerous ebooks and audio courses on the same thing. So anyways, click the link below the video, learn more, and I will talk to you soon.